His MVP. That's one. Right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. One swing. Drive. It's tied. Corey Seager smashes the ball down the line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field, way back there. Gone again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Texas Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 6-2 Rangers win, salvaging a game in their series with the Cubs. We're back on a winning track. It's a good day, and we'll see what happens with some of the other games in the AL West today, but it is a good start to the day. Thankful to be here with y'all. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Before we get into everything, a lot of good stuff to get into today. Y'all know the drill here at Right on Rangers. We cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during the MLB season. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Let's get into it. An ugly 2 games to start this series. I think we all can agree. Last night, exceptionally ugly with some of the defensive play. Rangers put a few more runs on the board, 6 runs total, and they, at this point, match a season high again today with 6 runs scored. But today felt like a much more complete ball game all the way around, and I think we have to start with Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle coming out, second start in a row, looking magnificent. Today, the line on him, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Really shouldn't have even had a run today allowed, in my opinion. I mean, look, the run that they scored was on a ball that Leody Taveras probably should have cut off, allowed the runner to advance. Runner would later score on a ground ball. Kind of going along a little bit with what I put out late last night. My commentary on Leody's play of late. And let's not make today's show all about Leody. Didn't have a bad game. 2 for 4, actually. Not bad from him. But it's unfortunate that once again, another defensive play out there in the outfield for Leody ends up turning into a run scored. And at that point, it was a big run. That tied the ball game. Rangers would have a nice top of the 5th inning that would put them ahead for good. But at that time, failing to cut that ball off directly led to the game being tied. I think it's very easy to say that Mahle very likely could have had 0 earned runs on the board if not for a little bit better defense, if not for a little shoddy defensive play out there in the outfield. 1.32 ERA on the season. We look at Tyler Mahle. We look at the game log so far this year. Clearly the first start against Boston, not what we wanted it to be. An inning and 2/3, 4 walks. Really did not look totally comfortable out there. Then you go to the game against Tampa Bay, 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, only 3 base runners allowed. You flash forward to today. Again, only 3 base runners allowed the entire day, 7 innings, 94 pitches. Believe that they said on the broadcast that this is the deepest that Tyler Mahle has pitched into a game since 2022. Good for him. Good for him getting back on track. And I said it live during the game as I was posting, as I was live tweeting during the game today. You have Tyler Mahle, right? You have Tyler Mahle in this form. Rangers have an extremely scary 3-headed monster in the rotation. You're talking about Evo, DeGrom, Mahle, 1, 2, 3. Jack Leiter, obviously on the IL right now, but if he continues to pitch as he does, you're talking about one of the better rotations in the game of baseball. I've already been on the record saying I really don't know who's better 1-2 punch than DeGrom and Evo if you're going into a playoff series. You throw Tyler Mahle in this form into that mix, you got to be feeling pretty good about the Rangers going into a 5-7 game series from a pitching perspective. Tyler Mahle, incredible today. Opponents hit 109 against him. And in the month of April, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing looking at his box score, looking at his stats from April. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. 0.75 ERA, 0.77 average against, 0.5 whip. Dude's dealing right now, and thankful for him. Rangers needed a nice shutdown day. 10 runs allowed yesterday. You had to have a number of bullpen guys pitched after a very short start by Patrick Corbin. And look, Corbin, no spring training. Don't take it as any disrespect. Dude's still warming up. Dude is still getting his feet wet with the 2025 season, getting back into a groove. So we don't hold it against Corb, but I will say bullpen, a little bit taxed yesterday. Nice to see Tyler Mahle go out and throw up 7 one-run innings. Very, very nice to give the bullpen a little bit of a breather. Going into a fairly big series with the Mariners, we don't want to overblow this series. Clearly, it's April. It's early. But you love getting off to a good start against some of these AL West competitors, against some of these AL West rival teams, Astros, Mariners. And look, at this point, the Angels look okay. The Athletics, I know that they've been a little up and down this year. It may be a little bit of a closer AL West than we think. Angels do appear to be a little bit better, and the A's, I feel like, got better over the offseason as well. So even more important to get off to a good start as you start facing some of this AL West competition. And it should be a really good showdown this weekend. So you've got DeGrom going on Friday against Bryce Miller. On Saturday, you've got Rocker going against Wu. And on Sunday, Gilbert is pitching against Evo. That's going to be a great matchup. Evo versus Gilbert in the Sunday matinee. So a lot of good pitching matchups. I think this is going to be a very entertaining series. Rangers always have an interesting time up in Seattle. I feel like I don't ever feel like we really truly go up there and dominate. I know it's been a little bit up and down, but I do think that the Rangers right now get a good getaway victory, and now you head on into the off day on a positive note, going into this series with Seattle with some good things accomplished on the Wednesday getaway day. So we're going to get into all your comments and questions as we go along. Got a few other guys to highlight in this one, but definitely going to take all of the comments and questions that I can. Appreciate all you guys, by the way. Let me go ahead and get into it. Natalie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. At what point with all the injuries do you look seriously at the training staff? I've said that a number of times. I know that it's got to be something privately, internally that the Rangers looked at in the offseason. You just don't have that many injuries last year in 2024 and not do any looking in the mirror. Could we have done better in our conditioning program? Could we have done better in our rehabilitation programs, in our prevention programs? Because obviously a lot of what they put their time into is preventing injuries. What can we do to keep guys on the field as much as possible? And I think we can all say, just stating facts here, it didn't go so great for the Rangers in 2024. Yes, sometimes injuries are dumb luck. The Josh Young injury last year, for example, there's not a lot that the training staff is really going to be able to do about that. Maybe where you do fault the training staff with Josh Young is the fact that he was not given enough time to heal, maybe came back a little bit too quick, trying to give the team a boost, and they should have been a little bit wiser and made him stay out longer. Josh Young kind of dealt with wrist soreness all of last year. But I think when we think about the training staff and we have this debate, we're talking mostly about pitchers, right? You've got a lot of pitching injuries last year. This year, you've got Cody Bradford, who I feel like at this point, we're just waiting for the Tommy John announcement. I hope to be wrong. Clearly, I don't wish that on anybody. Don't want to be right. But with how much they keep pushing him off, and I don't feel like they're super, super specific with some of the things that he's experiencing. Seems very vague and kind of shrouded. So I'm kind of just waiting for that shoe to drop, but maybe he's going to come back in the summer and light it up. But I'm a little worried about Cody Bradford. John Gray, that injury, again, kind of a freak injury. I don't really think you can hold it against the Rangers training staff. But you look at Wyatt Langford, clearly a guy that relies on bat speed, a lot of torque and rotation in his swing. It's what allows him to hit 100-mile-an-hour fastballs out of the ballpark. And so in that instance, it's not necessarily ever not going to be a part of Wyatt's game. The oblique injury that he suffered, definitely something that he thought was minor. I think he wanted to stay off the IL, according to reports, but the Rangers training staff had other ideas, wanted to go with the abundance of precaution mentality. And so you've got Wyatt Langford on the IL. Apparently, he is eyeing a return for the A's opening game when the Rangers take on the A's. I think that one might be in Sacramento. I think so. But with that being said, you've definitely got a situation where a lot of players at the beginning of the year on the IL, it's not a good feeling for any fan of the Texas Rangers seeing all these guys with ILs next to their name. But I do think some of it has been dumb luck thus far. I really do hope that it evens out a little bit. It sounds like Wyatt avoided any kind of major injury, and largely the Rangers want to see him take a few days, not make this injury any worse, and I support it. I don't think in April, this early on, you want to be pushing guys. If this was playoff race late September and you've got to be winning ball games, maybe he does fight through it after a couple of days off. But I don't think that that's the right move at this point in the season. So disappointing to see Wyatt go on the IL, but got to get him right. Got to get him right. Leading the offense in so many different categories. I think he leads the Rangers in hits and a few other key important stats. Got to get Wyatt Langford right. So it is the right move. Natalie, appreciate the update. MRI on Cody did come back clean. Good. Just with Cody Bradford, maybe it's not going to be Tommy John, but it just seems like a guy that has really, really struggled to stay healthy. Last year, obviously missed extended time. This year, missing extended time. You just wonder if he's going to be one of those guys, or is he going to be able to have a prolonged run of health? It feels like there's definitely flashes of brilliance from Cody Bradford. We've talked about the weird splits with Bradford. Like, for those of y'all that are brand new to the show, you haven't heard me talk about this yet, but Cody Bradford absolutely dominated at Globe Life Field last year. The splits, home versus away, were insanely different. I think the ERA was over 7 for Cody Bradford on the road. He dominated anytime he pitched at Globe Life. Not saying there's a trend there. It's not like he had a lot of games on the road. I think it was something like 7 games at home, 3 or 4 games on the road. Didn't have a ton of starts for Texas with the injury that he suffered at the very beginning of the year last year. But Cody Bradford, having him back would be huge. I don't know when that's going to be. It sounds like June, and Gray, maybe June as well. Look, the Rangers do have some very nice reinforcements coming. I do think Cody Bradford, John Gray will be great additions to the rotation. And meanwhile, you're getting guys like Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, more and more experience. We've seen some up and downs with Kumar Rocker. With Jack, we've definitely seen a hot start to spring training and to the regular season. Whether or not those trends continue, the positive right now is you've got these guys getting big league experience. And in low pressure situations, you're at the back end of the rotation. The Rangers aren't counting on Jack Leiter or Kumar Rocker to be big time contributors per se. Clearly, if they get big performances from Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker in their starts, awesome. Icing on the cake. But you've got Tyler Mahle. That's the guy you're paying a lot of money to. You've also got DeGrom, same thing, paying him a lot of money. Nate Eovaldi. Those are the 3 big money guys in the rotation. So if you've got those 3 guys cooking, Tyler Mahle was cooking today. Takes a little bit of the pressure off, at least with some of the pitching injuries, in my opinion. But it's frustrating. Nobody loves seeing all these guys go on the IL. Let me get to TikTok here. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. We will go through box score here in a little bit. We will take questions, comments, everything. Has the offense arrived is the question. Look, I don't personally want to jump the gun on the offense. I love what I saw today, but I said this at the beginning of the year. When it comes to the Rangers offense, you definitely are going to get flash in the pan, drop in the bucket, whatever other figurative language you want to throw in there. They're going to have games where they do really well. Kind of like I said with Leody Taveras last night, can we just get some consistency? I'm not going to declare that the offense is back yet. They had a nice game. Corey Seager heating up. I want to see them hit consistently. Look, right now, it's hit really well one game and then have 3 or 4 really, really terrible games in between. Then on the 5th game around, you put out 6 runs. I want to see this offense be consistent. 6 runs last night, 6 runs tonight. There's more consistency there. It's good to see. I don't know if it's going to be a great test, a true test. You're going against one of the best rotations in the league going into Seattle. I mean, I guess on one hand, you could say this is going to really show whether or not the Rangers are legit or not going up against one of the best. On the other hand, you kind of have some built-in excuses, right? If the Rangers struggle this weekend, you're going to hear a lot of people say they were facing one of the best teams pitching-wise in the league. In Seattle, they do have an outstanding rotation. Bryce Miller, very good. Wu, who they see on Saturday, he's a quality arm. And then, of course, Gilbert, all-star, very, very good pitcher, has given the Rangers a lot of problems. So if the Rangers struggle this weekend offensively, it's going to be pretty easy, I think, to explain it away. I personally just want to see this offense continue to click. Guys who struggled to start the year continue to get better and better. Man, was it good to see Corey Seager hit 2 bombs today. One oppo, one that he pulled to right field. If Corey Seager gets on one of his patented heaters, watch out. Everything looks better for the Rangers offense when Corey Seager is doing what he did today at the top of the order. And I think we have to give some props to Jonah Heim as well. Jonah Heim has looked a lot better this year than what he did in 2024. And Jonah Heim, you look at the numbers, batting .310, a .931 OPS, 2 for 4 today with a run scored, home run, obviously, and then 2 RBI, 1 from his own solo shot, little 2-run jack. Jonah Heim, if you can get Heim doing this from the bottom of the order, that's huge for the Rangers. And I'm glad that Bruce Bochy and company listened to our show last night, because we said very clearly, can we get the catchers both in the lineup? I want Higgy in the lineup. I know he goes 0 for 4 tonight. And I want Heim DHing, or vice versa. Like, at this point, I definitely feel like you got to keep Jonah Heim's bat in the lineup, DH him like you did today if you have to. Jock Peterson, he looks a little bit lost up there at the plate right now. I don't know if you want to trot Jock back out there on Friday night. I would imagine with how much money the Rangers are paying him, you're probably going to see Jock Peterson on Friday night. But if Jock continues to struggle, I think this is the clear solution. You go ahead and you get Heim or Higgy DHing, and you just roll with 2 catchers in the lineup. And you just decide, hey, we're prioritizing offense. We've got some guys that are scuffling right now. I would love to see them go with that strategy. I've already made it clear what I want to see happen in the outfield, but for anybody that missed the short that I put out late last night, I want to see Josh Smith play left field. Now that Josh Young is back at third base, Seager's healthy, Semien is obviously going to play probably 155 plus games. There's not a super obvious spot for Josh Smith in the infield unless he's given a day to Seager or Young. If Seager and Young and Semien are all playing, I want to see Josh Smith play left field. Josh Smith in left. When Wyatt Langford comes back, I want to see Wyatt Langford in center. And Leody can go to the bench, and Kevin Pillar can be on the bench as well. I don't personally want to see Leote continuing to get starter reps. I think the easy move is you move Josh to left field, and then you have Wyatt slot over to center when he comes off the IL. Until he comes off the IL, I'm sure you're going to see a healthy dose of Leote Taveras, who, look, out of necessity today, started out in center field, even though it was against the lefty. And look, had a nice game today, 2 for 4, average up to 250. OPS still 576, not super, super ideal. Leote did have a caught stealing today as well, his first of the year. Does he still lead the league in stolen bases? Look, there's some intangibles that are great about Leote. I said it last night. Dude has all the tools in the world. He's got speed. He's got some pop. The glove can actually look really good at times with Leote, but you just have way too many boneheaded plays. And for being a center fielder, a guy that's really supposed to be the commander, the leader out there in the outfield, there are just way too many misplays for me and not enough offensive, steady, consistent production from him to warrant continuing to give him a starting role. I think the easy thing to do when Wyatt returns for that Oakland series, Sacramento, whatever you want to call it, A's series, is move him to center and move Josh Smith to left field. Obviously, if anybody else needs a day, great. Josh slots in at third. He slots in at shortstop, second. And then you have any of those guys DH perhaps. But I think that's got to be the move. Props to the Rangers lineup today, though. Shota Imanaga, not an easy guy to hit around. And the Rangers did it quite well today with Jonah Heim and Corey Seager both taking him deep. He had an 0.98 ERA. I mean, the dude was rolling this year. So Shota getting batted around a little bit today in the day game. Didn't know if this game was going to get played, but the Rangers, Cubs able to sneak it in there. And you look at the rest of the box score today. You had Simi going 1 for 4. Josh Young 1 for 4 with an extra base hit. I love Josh Young from the 3 spot. Like Josh Young from the 3 spot, I think has been great. And I think it will be great, especially against lefties. Josh hits lefties extremely well in his career, has about a 330 career average when he's batting against lefty pitchers. So I love the move to have Josh Young hit in that 3 hole today. Doley goes 1 for 4. I think he's had a hit in like 3 or 4 straight games. Berger had a hit today after a day off yesterday. The only Ranger that didn't have a hit today was Higgy. Kyle Higashioka going 0 for 4. Put the ball in play every time, but 0 for 4 for Kyle. Pilar 1 for 4. Heim multi-hit. Leote multi-hit. It was a good day for the Rangers offense. Just a complete baseball game all the way around. You maybe subtract a little bit on that ball that Leote doesn't cut off in the 4th inning that did directly lead to a run being scored to tie the game. That was about the worst thing I saw out there in the field defensively. Otherwise, a really pretty clean game. Robert Garcia comes in, does give up a run. Granted, the game's a little bit out of hand at that point, but he goes an inning and a third. 1 earned run, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. And then Luke Jackson comes in, does give up a hit, but beyond that, shuts it down. Not a save situation, but Luke Jackson continues to tick that ERA down after allowing, 3 runs in the very first game on opening day. Really complete game for Texas all the way around. We keep going here. I know it's early, super early, but what moves can we see the Rangers make at the trade deadline? I think that the obvious, like the low-hanging fruit, is to go get a closer, to go get a guy that you can add at the back end of the bullpen. Not that we don't like what we're seeing from Chris Martin and Robert Garcia and Luke Jackson. I think they're actually pitching quite well right now, but I think the obvious choice would be to go get a guy like Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. He is in a contract year. His rookie contract, whatever you want to call it, his time under club control with the Cardinals is up after this season. And if the Rangers are solidly in the mix for the playoffs, which I fully expect them to be, I think you feel a lot better at that point, potentially giving up some prospects. So, to trade for him, I know a lot of Rangers fans wanted to see them trade for Helsley in the offseason. And it's not that you don't have confidence in the club, but at that point, there's a number of different things that can happen over the course of a year, injuries, and we've already seen a little bit of that with the Rangers. Wyatt Langford going down, Josh Young going down, John Gray, Cody Bradford, etc. You don't want to give up top prospects when there's a guy on an expiring contract that you're targeting. If Helsley had one more year on his deal after this, I think maybe you feel a little bit differently. But you wait and you go get a guy like that at the trade deadline when you are almost certain you are making the playoffs. And I do think that would be a nice addition. Like, as good as Luke Jackson, Garcia, Martin have been so far, I don't think there's anything wrong with adding some insurance at the back end of the bullpen. Like, it is nice when you have a plethora of options to choose from in the playoffs. Come playoff time, you are mixing and matching. Yes, obviously there's the 3-batter minimum, but we all know how playoffs go. You see a lot of pitching changes. You see a lot of coaches wanting to match up. So I absolutely would love to see them add something like that. I think the only other thing that the Rangers might consider adding, maybe you go out there and you get an outfielder. You get a proven, legit bat outfielder. I don't know what exactly that could look like. I'm not even sure what the landscape is right now, but maybe you go out and you get a guy that can play center field. You go ahead and you move Wyatt back to left field. And look, I know what we're talking about with the Josh Smith to left field thing earlier. There's still creative ways that you can get Josh Smith into the lineup. I'm not really worried about that. They'll find and figure out a way to keep Smitty hitting somewhere up at the top 5, top 6 in the order. But I really see that as being the only position worth filling. It's either that or you go out and you get a traditional DH. Again, I don't even know what the landscape looks like for this. I really don't lock in on trade and trade deadline stuff and who's actually available until we get into maybe May, June for sure, but definitely in May, start getting into that a little bit. But at this point, I would say closer or high leverage guy at the back end of the bullpen, or you go out and you get another outfielder. You probably have to cut ties with Kevin Pillar at that point. Leote becomes kind of a permanent bench fixture, and then you're doing the rotation, the musical chairs thing with Josh Smith. You know, you're giving Corey a day off. You're giving Josh Young a day off. You know, you're maybe giving Simeon a day off every 2 or 3 weeks. You know, maybe you're giving Berger a day off and you're dealing with Josh Smith at first base. Look, it's not that I don't think Josh Smith can play first base. I just think first base is such a tough spot to play. And if you haven't had a whole entire offseason of work like Jake Berger had with Corey Ragsdale, one of the infield coaches for the Rangers, it's not particularly easy to just get thrown into the fire with. So you kind of saw that, honestly, with Smitty playing first the other day. So you saw the PFP, the throw that was way off as the pitcher was trying to cover the bag. Those are things that you work on in the offseason, and you can just kind of tell with Josh Smith, it's not his forte. It's not his most comfortable position. Now, do I think that Josh Smith is a dynamic ball player that can get better and better over at first base? 100%. And if Jake Berger continues to scuffle, that might actually be the play. You just have Josh Smith getting a ton of reps at first base, left field. You feel like he's going to naturally take a lot of ground balls, second, shortstop, third base. It's going to be tough, but you're just going to have to see Josh Smith play a number of different positions to keep that bat in the lineup. And I do think as Rangers fans, we might have to put up with some interesting defensive situations. But I think that is the price you pay to keep Josh Smith hitting in the order and hitting towards the top of the order, hopefully. I would love to see them move him up a little bit more. Keep going. I'm going to catch up on a ton of comments here, y'all. I know I've been going on and on. Great pitching today. Totally agree. Absolutely. Thank you for everybody hanging out. Thank you for everybody that has followed during the live today. And I see a couple people have shared. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the comments too. We keep going. Tired of Leote's defense and subpar bat. Look, had a nice game today. Definitely want to compliment Leote. Had a nice game today, 2 for 4. Did strike out twice, but look, you get 2 hits from the bottom of the order. You're going to take that every time from the 9 spot. But the defense today, I mean, look, it comes back around less than 24 hours later. Like Leote had a really tough time last night. And I love, look, I don't want to read into things too much, but I follow Evan Grant, Dallas Morning News guy, and I think Evan's just reporting what Leote is saying and what Leote is thinking. But Leote basically, I think, came out and said he's just having a really tough time in Chicago, dealing with the outfield in Chicago. And I just, I had to kind of bite my tongue. Like, Leote, it's not just a Chicago problem. You've seen Leote have issues defensively in multiple ballparks. So I know that maybe some of the apologists out there for Leote are going to blame the ballpark. And he comes out and I believe tells some of the reporters that he's just having a tough time out there in the outfield in Chicago here on this trip. And, honestly, my first reaction is, dude, look, we've seen you make a number of different mistakes in other ballparks too. Let's not blame Chicago. Let's not even go there. So, Leote last night, again, the bad decision, throwing it to third. You're not going to get Kyle Tucker. Should have thrown it to second base. Justin Turner, savvy vet, takes second and comes around to score, I think, the next at bat on a single. A double play ball was eliminated there. And then you had the pop fly. I don't want to say pop fly. It was a nice, well-hit ball, but you're playing no doubles at that point. Leote was right there. Yeah, the wind's blowing a little bit. These are major leaguers. At what point are you going to hold them to a high standard? You're missing routine fly balls. It's a problem. And Leote's miss on that fly ball last night directly led to a loss. I don't at all want to hear the coach speak. What I mean by coach speak is, come on, there's 9 innings in a baseball game. That one moment didn't cost them the game. That's what I mean by coach speak. I don't even want to hear any of that. If the game is tied and the team has clawed back to make it a 6-6 ball game after being down 6-3, and then in the very next half inning, you whiff on a routine ball to the outfield, and the run that scores because of your error becomes the game-winning run, you are directly responsible, in my opinion, for the team losing the game. Leote makes that catch. It's no runner on, 1 out. And you've got a situation where Chris Martin probably goes 1, 2, 3 and gets out of that inning. I mean, we don't know exactly what could have happened there. It's definitely not a foregone conclusion that the Cubs just go 1, 2, 3. But I like nobody on, 1 out for Chris Martin versus runner on second base, nobody out. I mean, that's a big difference in scenarios. So anybody saying that Leote's not one of the big reasons that the Rangers lost last night, I don't even get that. I'm ready for the experiment to be over. Look, Leote was a top prospect. He's been given a super long runway. Can we all agree on that? 3 or 4 years. And I am not as patient as some Rangers fans. I think 3 or 4 years is plenty of time to figure out if a guy has it or not. And Leote is going to be a guy that probably flirts between 225 and 250 every single year. Maybe you get an occasional 255, 260 year, but Leote is not going to be a guy that hits 300 for you. And he's not going to be a guy that gives you gold glove defense. So for me, it doesn't justify continuing to give him starts. Give me Josh Smith in left and Wyatt in center. Keep going. JJ, what's good? Great win today. Appreciate. Let me keep going. Macklin, I think I got your question over on YouTube. Yeah. Appreciate you, bud. Thank you so much. Is our hitting back? I'm not going to say hitting is back, and it's going to be tough going against Seattle this coming weekend. Seattle, one of the best pitching staffs in the league, but no, not going to say hitting is back quite yet. I'm definitely going to be watching the Mavs game. I may even go live tonight after the Mavs game. Being real, I don't put the Mavs on high priority once baseball season starts. I love the Mavs. Y'all know, from the Dallas-Fort Worth area originally, grew up in Arlington. So I love all Dallas-Fort Worth sports. Mavs especially. So I may get on and do a Luka return live later tonight after the game is over. We'll see. I don't know if I want to do 2 lives in a day, but it might call for it with Luka returning to Dallas for the first time since the Mavs inexplicably traded him. So maybe you'll see me on here later tonight. Josh Young, absolutely want to talk about him. JJ, appreciate the comments. Josh Young crushes lefties, and having him back in the lineup is everything. Like last night, immediate impact for Josh Young. Then today, you have an extra base hit. He's hitting third. Love the move. Jungle Cat hitting third in the order. Thought it was a perfect decision, especially with the lefty on the mound. Shota Imanaga for the Cubs. So Josh Young's presence is huge. And he had a great start to the year in the first 2 games. He's hitting 467 with the 1,200 OPS right now. I know it's a small sample size, but you got to love what Josh Young is bringing to a lineup that struggled out the gate. Ready for Jock to get going. Dylan, thank you for the comment. 100%. Jock hitting below 100 now, and he's making too much money. I can't see the Rangers benching Jock Peterson quickly. I think they're going to give Jock the month of April. If you're seeing Jock continuing to look bad after the month of April is over, maybe at that point you see them begin to lessen the amount of at-bats he gets. But investing, 17 or 18 million a year in Jock, that's not an amount of money that you want to see just sitting on the bench. So I do think they are going to give Jock a little bit of a longer leash. And at this point, we're going to have to deal, I think, with him just swinging his way out of this slump. I can't imagine the Rangers just pull the string on Jock Peterson in the lineup. Now, maybe they move him down. Maybe he's not going to be hitting cleanup anymore. But I just don't think they want to see $18 million sitting on the bench. Look, Leiter, Macklin, thanks for the comment. Leiter, I think he threw a bullpen. Blister did not have any adverse effects after throwing that bullpen session. I hope that Leiter is able to come back in a few days when he is eligible to come off the IL. I'd imagine they'll be pretty careful with him in his first start back, but I do think that Jack Leiter is going to be returning within the next couple of weeks. It sounds like, again, bullpen went well today. Find it pretty tough to believe he's going to be out for a whole lot longer than the minimum amount of days. Cody Bradford went from soreness to 60-day IL. We got a comment earlier that the MRI on Cody Bradford came back clean. So I think that's good news, but I agree. I don't love, hey, a little soreness in spring training. That's what they always say, though. Y'all know that. That's what they're always going to tell you. They don't want to make it seem worse than what it really is. They don't want to stoke the fires of worry in the fan base. Yeah, just a little soreness. We're going to shut him down. But yeah, soreness to 60-day IL, don't love it. Do not love it. A's are May 28th to 30th. Don't they? They don't play sooner? Man, if that's it, maybe I just read that wrong. I thought the A's and Rangers played a little sooner than that. I don't know. I'll look at the schedule right now, y'all. We'll pull it up. They play the A's on April 22nd in Sacramento. So maybe you're thinking about the home series. The home series, April 28th. So I'm thinking he's planning on being back in Sacramento on the 22nd. And that kind of makes sense with the 10-day IL. That would be right around that April 22nd date. Will Jock ever get it together? I think Jock will get it together. I think it's going to be one of those deals where you're going to have to look at his numbers in the scope or in the lens of last 15 days, last 30 days to feel good about him. I think if you're going to be looking at Jock's stat line, slash line for the next month, it's going to take a long time for Jock to get out of the hole that he has built for himself. So I wouldn't even look at his numbers just staring at the slash line or at the box score. I would look at what's he done the last 7 games? What's he done the last 15 games? And take encouragement from that. But I do think he gets out of it. I do think you got to give Jock some time. Absolutely. Corey Seager, he started out slow last year and then went on one of his patented heaters, 2 homers today. I sure hope Corey Seager is back. Let's see. I truly believe if the offense wasn't so bad right now, we would be more forgiving to Leote. Well, 100%. But I think that we have seen a number of issues with Leote over the past few years where you just say to yourself, there's got to be a better option than this. What do the Rangers see in Leote Taveras where you want to continue to give him at bats over some of the other guys that you have in your organization and on the team right now? Again, I don't see why you would want to have Leote play over Josh Smith at any point. I'll take Josh Smith's lesser defense out there in the outfield just to have him in the lineup with the bat. And I really do think that Josh Smith, very cerebral player, and I do think that he'll probably adjust quite well in the outfield just being the guy that he is. I think he'll be all right out there. You've seen him make a number of great plays on fly balls already. A couple of over-the-shoulder grabs. That one out in Cincinnati comes to mind. I think that Josh Smith is going to be fine out in the outfield. But CY at the end of last year really expressed that they are looking for Leote to take the next step. And I didn't understand that comment a whole lot just because you have Evan Carter, and Evan Carter really hasn't gotten a full season just to have to himself out there. I feel like Leote has gotten a super long runway, and I do think that's why fans are a little bit less forgiving. You've seen Leote get 125 plus games, multiple seasons. I'm ready to see somebody else. But that being said, I'll cheer for Leote as long as he's in the lineup. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get frustrated when he does boneheaded things like last night and today, not cutting off that ball that directly ends up leading to a run. But I'll cheer for him, and I will hope to eat crow at the end of the year on Leote Taveras. Keep going. Could we get a decent pitcher for Leote? Yeah, I think you could trade Leote. There were a number of teams in the offseason that were inquiring about Leote. So I think there's intrigue. This guy was somebody that was a top prospect in the Rangers organization, if not the top prospect at a time. So there is some interest. Leote Taveras was drawing it in the offseason. Rangers decided to hang on to him. And I don't know if they looked at Evan Carter and they looked at the offseason Evan Carter was having. They looked at spring training and they just said, we got to hold on to Leote. Evan isn't ready and we don't have a lot of other great options. I think that is what they said to themselves ultimately with Leote Taveras. Call Teodo up like yesterday. The problem with Teodo is I think they want him to be a starter. He started over 50 games in the minor leagues. I know all of y'all saw him in spring training as a reliever closing games, but look, Teodo has started a ton of ball games in the Rangers organization. I don't know if they're ready to give up the dream of him being a starter in this league. So I think that with Teodo, you're probably not going to see him until the end of the year at the earliest. And look, maybe they give him a shot in spring training to be in the starting rotation. You've got, I think, John Gray on an expiring contract. I think Tyler Mahle's contract is expiring. You've got some guys that are going to be off of the books. And then you have a decision to make. You can either go out and you can fill their spots with free agents, or you promote a guy like Teodo. But in my opinion, my prediction on Teodo would be next year when you've got John Gray leaving, you've got Tyler Mahle off the books, you are probably going to see some of those younger guys become mainstays in the rotation. Favorite Ranger of all time, Josh Hamilton. Hambone. Do I live stream the game? No, I don't because of copyright issues. I do a multicast. I stream to multiple different social media apps, YouTube, Facebook, X. I do, of course, TikTok and one other one. I forget. I'm sorry, y'all, on the spot. Long day at the office. But I definitely would love to be able to do that, but they will start kicking you off the stream at some point if all you're doing is showing it. I think if I could find a way to go split screen, which I probably could do, the only thing I've noticed was sometimes going live and then doing any kind of split screen is it slows down my broadcast a little bit. It makes it really choppy. Just being real. I don't have 2 gigabyte internet here. It's pretty decent, but I'm not hooked up to anything crazy with the connection. So I've had a little bit of issues with connectivity when you're streaming and you're streaming a game and you're streaming live with that game. I don't know. Anyways, y'all don't want to hear me complain about my connection issues. Let me keep going here. Ship Leote and Duran off while they still have value. I felt like Duran, when he hit those 6 homers in 6 games down in the minors last year, they had a decision to make. Trade Duran when he's probably at his highest stock value, having hit 6 bombs in 6 games down at AAA. Instead, the Rangers decided to call him up. I really didn't get the move, but that's what they decided to do. Keep going. Yeah, definitely. PK, Wyatt, I want him in center, and I want Smith in left. I don't think Garrett, I want Smith in center field. I think Wyatt faster, Wyatt more experience in the outfield. I would rather have Wyatt Langford in center field than Josh Smith. Now, if you have to have Josh Smith in center for whatever reason, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I just think that at this point, I would rather see Josh move to left field. Left field is a better place, I think, for a novice outfielder, a guy that hasn't played out there very much. I don't think Josh has but maybe 50 or maybe only 40 games of experience in the outfield at multiple different levels, even back to the minor leagues. So we were looking this up, I think, last year at times. So Josh Smith, I think a good, nice landing spot for him in the outfield will be left field. If he starts feeling really comfortable, if he looks good, yeah, maybe you do think about moving him over to center occasionally. But I don't think Josh Smith is going to be your long-term answer in center field. He could turn into a left fielder for you. I don't know. I think that you've just got to keep him in the lineup. And at some point, you've got to start subtracting out some of the guys that are not really making a huge impact, especially offensively speaking. Keep going. Let's see. Rangers won more recently than the Cubs. Yeah, that makes sense. Love seeing Mahle keep the Cubs off balance. Mahle's start was incredible today. I don't think Riley Wyatt's going to be out any longer than the minimum amount. Sounded like Wyatt did not want to go on the IL. He was actually lobbying to stay off of it, but the training staff had other ideas. Keep going. Thanks for the follows, by the way. Some of y'all are going after it with each other. Love to see it. Rangers are, I think he meant to say bums, but he said buns. That's kind of funny. Did y'all win the series against the Cubs? No. First series loss, but you salvage a game today. That'll work. I like Heim at catcher. Not really the defensive side of things, but I like what I'm seeing from Heim in the lineup. But no, the Rangers haven't been able to throw anybody out. I'm not loving that. Do I think the pitching can stay dominant? Yes, I do. I think that the pitching staff is probably becoming quickly the Rangers' greatest strength. We thought it was going to be the offense. We knew we had Evo and DeGrom, but there were a lot of question marks otherwise. So I do think that the pitching staff is going to be able, maybe not to maintain the exact level of excellence that they're at right now, but I do think that they are going to be a huge strength down the stretch. All right, I'm going to scroll down. I think I finally caught back up a little bit. If I didn't get to your comment, try and patch it in again. John says, by the way, on YouTube, Jonah Heim comeback player of the year 2025. Wouldn't that be something? That would be something. Let me keep going here. Could we get a decent pitcher for Leote? Did that one. Yup. Yup. A lot of y'all getting after it in the chat. I love it. How's Carter been doing in the minor leagues? Mixed bag. I think he had a pretty rough 5 or 6 game stretch. Then I think it was on Sunday, he had 1 for 2 with 3 walks. I think he was 0 for, or maybe 1 for 4 with a walk. I don't know what he did today. But yeah, Evan Carter, I think it's kind of a mixed bag right now in AAA. I can't say that Evan Carter is killing it. We'll look up the stats for you just so you can get them. But I don't think Evan is killing it at this point. I mean, look, if he was, don't you think they would have called him up instead of Dustin Harris? No disrespect to Dustin Harris, by the way. I actually hope Dustin kind of gets an extended look. I feel like they should have called up Dustin Harris a lot sooner last year. Felt like he only really got a shot in that Giant series that was like at the very end of the year. So I actually kind of hope that Harris gets a little bit more of a shot than what he did. Evan Carter, though, right now, look, here are the stats. They're not great. They're not good. 2 for 22, 091 average. OPS is sitting at 401. OBP is at 310, somewhat respectable. Not great. Not great for Evan Carter out the gate. Look, a couple of positive signs. Look, he was 1 for 2 with 3 walks, and then he was 0 for 3 on April 8th yesterday with a walk. So I guess what you say to yourself is he has gotten on base 5 times in his last 11 or 12 plate appearances. That sounds a lot better than saying he's, 1 for 5 in his last 2 games. He's gotten on base a lot of times. So hopefully that continues. I think actually if you can get Evan Carter back to where he was, just being so disciplined at the plate, that was such a huge part of his game. If y'all remember, the plate vision, the discipline in September and October of 2023, that's what we loved about Carter. I think John, if you're still hanging out, John's nicknamed 3-2 Carter. I love it. And seriously, dude is 3-2. It felt like every other time in September and October. It was a 3-2 count. You looked up when Evan Carter was batting. I was just making pitchers work and seeing a lot of pitches. And the more pitches you see, generally speaking, the more success you have. So if Evan Carter can get back to taking walks, being patient up at the plate, I do think that it got to his head a little bit. There were so many people praising his eye at the plate. And I think he forgot that he was still a rookie and not going to get all of the borderline calls, because you started seeing Evan Carter take a lot of pitches on the black, trying to have that really good eye and getting rung up. So I think in a way, all of the praise and everything that he became known for, it kind of stunted and stymied him a little bit down the stretch. You've got to have a balance between having a good eye, but then picking your pitches. And when you get a pitch to hit, when you get a pitch in your wheelhouse, executing it. I think you saw Evan Carter in the struggles in 2024 before he went down with the back injury, being very tentative up at the plate, looking to walk almost, looking to go up there and just be patient, which isn't the worst approach in the world. But when you're not executing on the pitches that are in your wheelhouse, it definitely becomes an issue where you're having to take pitches on the borderline, on the black, in order to get on base and be successful. And I think Evan Carter, the way that he was going last year, the injury combined, it was kind of a perfect storm. Hopefully he continues to bounce back in AAA. We keep going. Yeah, 2 strikes. I agreed. Alfredo, that always is my approach. And I just think at the end of Evan Carter's run in 2024, you just saw him taking way too many close pitches and thinking he was going to get the call. How is Adolis Garcia? I think he's got a 3 or 4 game hitting streak going. Rangers better get used to the cold weather. Yeah, it's what I said too last night. I know a lot of Rangers fans are like, "Oh, the cold weather. That's why they've had a tough time in Chicago." Dude, they played a cold weather series in Cincinnati already. How many cold weather series of grace are you giving them? We're going to have to go to play probably the Yankees, the Red Sox, even Baltimore is cold in October. We played in Baltimore a couple of years ago. It wasn't 75, 80 and sunny there when we played. So the cold weather excuse only does so much for me. I mean, look, I get it. It probably was a factor, but it just can't be an excuse down the stretch. You're going to have to win ball games and figure out ball games in the cold. Going to have to. Big test for Angels will be the Rangers next week. Absolutely. I think the Angels got a pretty decent squad. Mike Trout, healthy. Who knows? Ron Washington, we all know, quality coach. Hefe was good. What's up with the defense this series? You're telling me. The defense was pretty ugly this series. It got better today. Again, Leote out in center, letting that ball get all the way past him, failing to cut it off. Led directly to the Cubs tying the game at 1. Leote, put a tent on the circus last night as well. We already got into that. Josh Young had a pivotal error right after Leote's error in the bottom of the 8th. It was not pretty last night at all. Full count Carter agreed. Full count Carter. We keep going. I miss Lowe and Jordan Montgomery. I definitely miss Nate Lowe. Clubhouse presence was 100. He's having a pretty good start to the year in Washington. Doesn't mean he's going to kill it all year long, but I do miss Nate Lowe. And you just have to remember, it wasn't about the Rangers necessarily betting that Berger was going to be this huge upgrade over Nate Lowe. A lot of it was contractual. Nate Lowe was going to be making, I forget how much, wasn't it like $10 or $11 million? And Jake Berger is not making that. So I think that it was as much about salary as it was about an improvement in the lineup. I do think Berger gives you a little bit more pop, but Nate Lowe, really good player. I just think the Rangers were looking to get a guy with a little bit more club control, which Berger has, and a guy who's a little bit cheaper, which Berger is. Keep going. All right, I think I finally caught up. We're 2 weeks in. Calm down. Look, the people that say we're 2 weeks in, calm down, I still love y'all, but you're the same people that are going to say, it's only been 4 weeks. Calm down. It's only been 10 weeks. Calm down. I mean, again, I've joked like the past 4 days. How many games do the Rangers have to play for anybody to be able to have an opinion in some of y'all's eyes? Like, I don't know. I think after the first 4 series of the year, you can start forming some conclusions. Yeah, and the people saying it's early, stop getting all hasty and being critical. Again, same people that are going to tell me it's only been 30 games. It's only been 75 games. Come on. There's still half a season left. I do. Come on. Please. All right. Look. I'll give a month. All right, I appreciate that. I'll give a month, Flash. All right, that is respectable to me. Look, I do this for a job, so I'm not going to be able to hold my tongue for a month. But I absolutely think that is a respectable amount of time to come up with a conclusion. I do feel like some people are still going to hop on here after the first 30 games and tell me, dude, it's only been 30. Come on, man. We still got a whole summer to play. Bro, like at some point, we've all got to be able to form an opinion without people getting all up in their feelings. Seager's starting to get hot. Victor, what's good? Totally agree. Totally agree. And Flash, I wish this was my only job. This is like side hustle. Hope it could become my everyday job one day. Y'all are helping with that right now. So you know how grateful I am if you've been hanging out. Super grateful for all y'all. Maybe this could be a full-time job one day. That would be the dream. Until then, we're going to hustle as hard as we can and treat it like a full-time job. But y'all are really, really big help with that. So thank you. It means a lot. All the comments, people who have shared the live. If you know a Rangers fan, you know a diehard, and they're not following yet, share this live with them right now. If you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, one of the others, after this is over, share one of my videos with them. I would really be appreciative. Simeon, did he go 1 for today? Is that what he did? 1 for 4? Okay. And he had a walk today. Look, I've said it. If Marcus can give you a hit and a walk every game, I think you'll take it. A hit and a walk every game, I will take that 100% from Marcus. I wish that Marcus took a few more pitches, I wish Marcus made pitchers work a little bit more. He's a really aggressive hitter. I don't know if that's the best hitter type to have up at the top of your order leading off. Simi has kind of just filled that role almost his entire career. So I almost feel like at this point it's like principle. But when you think about it, I think there are guys like Josh Smith, for example, that are a little bit better up at the plate, making pitchers work, being selective. I think I'd really like to see Josh Smith lead off, genuinely. Keep going. You thinking Leote and Duran on the trade block? I would. I'd put Leote and Duran on the trade block for sure. You've got guys in the outfield that you can bring up. Duran was optioned to AAA earlier this week. Duran has no path to playing time. No path. So for me, I'm trading Leote and I'm trading Duran at the trade deadline. And I've said that the past 2 trade deadlines. So I don't think it's necessarily going to happen, but I would love to see it happen. Keep going. Appreciate the follow, Nick. Thanks so much, man. Bucky, appreciate the follow as well. What happened to Martin Perez? He bounced around. Like, he was on the Pirates. I think he was on the Padres for a little bit too. Like, Martin Perez has been popping around a little bit here. Daily Marcus Semien hate. Not hating. I mean, Simi's hitting 122, bro. 373 OPS. Like, it's not going great right now. Doesn't mean it can't get better. Even if it starts going great, I'd rather see Marcus in more of an RBI role. I'd rather see Marcus hit more in the middle of the order. And I think you have other guys that probably would fill the leadoff role a little bit better than Simi. Doesn't mean he's not a good hitter. For me personally, it comes down to opinion. I'd rather have a guy that works, counts better, takes more walks, has speed. I'd rather have that kind of guy up at the top of the order. Marcus, he's aggressive. He's going to be up there hacking first pitch and looking to swing first pitch if he gets one that he likes. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I just don't know if you want to have a guy at the top of the order that's not really getting on base any other way than getting hits. You want a guy that can take walks, that can work counts, obviously a guy that can get hits as well. But I do think I'd rather see a guy like Wyatt Langford or Josh Smith lead off. I thought Jock Peterson was going to be good. I did too, but look, let's see where he's at in a month. Let's see where he's at after another 17 games, and we'll go from there. We'll go from there. Trade Leote and Duran for Pete Fairbanks. I wonder what Pete Fairbanks' asking price is. Pete Fairbanks, reliever for the Rays. Pete Fairbanks, that dude is quite the interview, by the way. If you can go YouTube Pete Fairbanks interviews later, gold comedy. Dude is hilarious. So I'd be a big fan of the Pete Fairbanks acquisition. Flash, I'm with you. Jock does look uncomfortable. It's definitely, for me, just, the field, the eye test, it doesn't look great. The stats are what they are. But he had some very non-competitive at-bats last night. I mean, striking out on 3 pitches, striking out on 4 pitches. So I got to agree with you. CJ says Ohtani has been leading off. Maybe the best hitter leading off will be a new trend. It's kind of what I'm saying. Like, that's why Wyatt leading off, I don't think is the worst idea because of the speed. Wyatt does have a good eye up there. I'd actually love to see, this is what I'd love for 1, 2, 3, Smith, Langford, Seager. I'd love to see Seager move back to third, and you have then the opportunity for Josh Smith and Wyatt Langford to get on base ahead of him. I'd probably put Doley or Josh Young behind Seager to protect him. I think you've got to have Josh Young or Garcia protecting him. Right now, I don't think Jock is a guy that needs to be protecting Corey Seager. They're going to walk Seager to get to Jock right now. So I'd be moving Jock down a little bit in the order. Marcus, I'm probably hitting, I would say, 6th. And then you've got some of your typical bottom of the order guys from there. But that would be my lineup. That'd be my preference. I would love for them to get a couple more guys on for Corey Seager every time. I mean, imagine Josh Smith, leadoff single, Wyatt Langford takes a walk, Corey Seager's up with runners on first and second, nobody out. Hey, that's a very, very dream scenario. Keep going. I get Cal Raleigh so much. Hey, I'll take it. The more y'all want to compare me to professional multi-million-dollar baseball players, I'm not going to refuse it. Not going to refuse it at all. A lot to work on, Brad says, but we'll take 9-4, 100%. 100%. And look, Corey Seager hitting 2 bombs today's got to make you feel good. If they can hit like this in Seattle, it's going to be a really fun weekend. A really, really fun weekend. We could set aside the pride and go get Robertson for another year better than half our pen. I don't know why they didn't make an offer to Kirby Yates or David Robertson. I don't know. Maybe there's more to the story, but I don't know why they didn't even make an offer. We keep going. Thoughts on the Blue Jays this year? Love that they got Vladdy locked up. I didn't know if they were going to make that happen or not, but good for them getting Vladdy locked up. I think they're going to be better than last year, but the AL East is so competitive. We'll see what happens. Hard Chuck, yeah, I think a couple of weeks. Wyatt is targeting, I believe, April 22nd. Yeah, Flash, I think that's right, but I'm not 100% what Robertson was asking for. He wanted $11 million a year. Yeah, that's a little high. I think you could go 8 or 9 with Robertson, but I don't know if double-digit millions for Robertson at this point. I don't know. What are we at? An hour and 6? We are going to call it, I think, a show here in just a little bit. I am going to preview Friday's matchup, and then I'm going to go watch that Mavs-Lakers game here in a second, which I think is tipping off like right now. So we got to hustle over to the TV here, and I might go live after that game. We'll see what happens. So if y'all are not Mavs fans, not NBA fans, I'm sorry. Come hang out anyways. We can maybe talk more Rangers mixed in there too, but I might get on and talk a little Mavs, Lakers, Luka return to Dallas later tonight. We'll see. Looks like Garver is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs off Jacob deGrom. Mitch Garver, 2 for 2 with 2 bombs against probable starter on Friday night for the Rangers, Jacob deGrom. Arenas 0 for 4. Crawford 0 for 4. Polanco 2 for 6. Cal Raleigh, he is 0 for 3. Luke Raley 1 for 2. Julio 2 for 4. Solano 2 for 5. So small sample size. deGrom, he has had some success off of some of the Rays' better hitters, but we'll see what happens. On the other side, against Bryce Miller, Berger 2 for 4. Doley 3 for 9 with a bomb. Heim 4 for 8. You think we'll see Jonah Heim? I think so. Josh Young, he is hitting 3 for 5 with a bomb. We've got Corey Seager hitting 3 for 5 with 2 bombs. Simeon 2 for 10. Josh Smith 0 for 5. Leody Taveras 1 for 5. So you've got Corey Seager, you've got Josh Young, and you've got Doley, who have all hit bombs off Bryce Miller and all have really good batting averages. I like the Rangers' chances on Friday night. And Bryce Miller to start the year, 0-2, 5.73 ERA. I definitely think the Rangers can take game 1 against the Mariners on Friday night. I'm not going to preview these games for you, but it's Rocker versus Wu on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it is Evo versus Gilbert. That should be on Sunday Night Baseball. I don't think it is. It's not. Sunday Night Baseball is... What do you think Sunday Night Baseball is? I've already seen it. I'm not going to spoil it. What do y'all think Sunday Night Baseball is? It should be Evo versus Gilbert, but they ain't going to do that. Instead, they are going to put the Dodgers on. Shocker. Cubs-Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball. Easily could be Rangers-Mariners, but look, I get it. Cubs-Dodgers, bigger brands, whatever. You're not going to beat Evo Gilbert for pitching matchups. That's pretty sweet. It's a pretty sick pitching matchup. Let's see. God, I hope we get rid of Taveras for some better bullpen arms. You and me both. Look, nothing personal against Leody, but I do hope that they upgrade the bullpen a little bit with some of the guys that really shouldn't be playing every day. 100%. The Tavares hate is crazy right now. Yeah, but it's kind of warranted. Leote's not off to a great start. He's made a number of errors out in the outfield. It wasn't the only reason that we lost. Hardchuck, I agree with you, but his error on that fly ball last night directly led to us losing the game. Right? There's no other way to put it. We can coach speak it all you want. Yeah, there's 9 innings. Yeah, there's 8 other players. Like, the reality is it was a tie ball game. And the very first batter of the bottom of the 8th inning, you've got Leote missing a routine fly ball. That directly leads to us losing the game. Could have been 1 out, nobody on for Chris Martin. Instead, it's runner on second, nobody out. Young, absolutely. But I don't even know if the Josh Young play happens if Leote makes that play to start the inning out. Josh Young, absolutely. Pivotal error. But Leote made another error that led to a run earlier in the game in the 5th inning on the sac fly where he's throwing to third base trying to get Kyle Tucker, and then Justin Turner tags up from first, and now you lose the double play and there's runners on second and third with 1 out. I mean, look, I could go on and on. Today, the only reason why the Cubs got a run is because Leote made an error out there in the outfield. Didn't cut off a ball that ends up going all the way to the fence. So, look, for me, Leote, he's not the worst player in the world, but you can do better. You can upgrade. As much as you want to point to maybe small positive things that Leote can do, I can probably give you 2 negatives for every positive. And I don't know if that's the kind of player you want playing every day. I do hope Dustin Harris gets a fair shake, 100%. All right, y'all. Let me keep going. I love Corey Seager as well. James, what's good? Seager, probably my favorite Ranger currently, favorite all-time Ranger, Josh Hamilton, Hambone, of course. Texas Repo, what's good? Yeah, Kyle Tucker still wreaking havoc on the Rangers a little bit. I still can't believe y'all traded Kyle Tucker. Cannot even believe it. I know it's a contract year. Trying to get out ahead of it. I get it. Or you could just lock Kyle Tucker up long-term. Dude's an animal. I would love to have Kyle Tucker on the Rangers. Maybe we can work that out in the offseason. Wouldn't that be something? The Rangers go get Kyle Tucker in free agency next year. That sounds like a pretty nice piece. I mean, I know we've got outfielders coming up on the farm. I surely wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Tucker's name in the lineup. Surely would not mind seeing that dude mashing at Globe Life. My goodness. Seager and Wyatt need to switch in the order. Absolutely. We were just saying that. Let's go Josh Smith. Let's go Wyatt Langford. Let's go Corey Seager. Let's check scores real quick. So today we have AL West scores. Let's clarify. The Mariners beat the Astros today. Little comeback victory. Astros were up. So Astros are now 5-7. Mariners are 5-8. We also have, do we have the Angels playing today? Angels are losing 4-1, but they have the bases loaded in the top of the second with 2 out. Would be nice to see the Rays steal a win from them. The A's, they lost to the Padres today 2-1. So, look, a pretty good day forming in the AL West for the Rangers. Let's go to the standings, and then let's call it a show. Rangers right now, they have the most wins in the American League, 9-4. Winning percentage, technically the Angels still a little bit better. You've got right now the Rangers slightly ahead in the first place column, but if the Angels were to win today, I believe they would creep back up into first. Who would have thought the Angels, even after a couple of weeks, would be up in first place? But the season's early. The season is young. Hey, I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Maybe see y'all later tonight. If you want to come back, hang out, talk Mavs, I might get on and do a little live for the Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Lakers game. Luka's return to Dallas. I'm getting notifications already. Luka getting emotional at the tribute video. Let's see how this one shakes out. Should be pure theater. So if you want to come hang out later tonight while we talk Dallas Mavericks, you're more than welcome to do so. If not, hopefully we catch you on Friday or Saturday for our next live after one of the Rangers-Mariners games. Appreciate all the comments, the questions, the support, the likes, all y'all sharing, everybody that followed while we were going live today. Man, I am grateful. And I hope all of y'all have a great rest of the work week. Thursday tomorrow, it's almost the weekend. Rangers off tomorrow as they head out west to Seattle. We'll probably put out a couple of shorts at different times, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. So you'll hear from us even though it's an off day. And as I always say to end every show, God bless